Hi there, welcome to Useful Things. My name's Paul, and I had this idea with the Olympics coming up in 2024, asking the question, would my city be able to host the Olympics? So if you're wondering what my city is like before this build, you can go back and check out the video where I give a tour of my city so far, what's there, what the beaches look like, and the jungle area, the different venues. We have sporting venues in the city already, but I don't think my city's equipped yet to host the Olympic Games. And so I want to make this city Olympic ready to be able to host the Olympic Games. Although we can't really do it because it's a game, but if this was not a game, could my city host the Olympic Games? And so looking at the requirements for the Olympics to be able to host it, I've got here a little excerpt from the Olympics website. So as you can see, it's got some jargon about geopolitical, socio-economic, human development things, environmental factors, and I think my city probably ticks those boxes. It's a very green city. Our fuel and water and waste is all kind of very up-to-date, very modern, so that's okay. Vision and venue master plan. Well, that's what I'm going to develop off the back of looking at these websites. Alignment with existing long-term development plans. Sure, why not? Envision sustainability and legacy impacts. I guess so. Political and public support. Well, it only needs my support because I am the sole ruler and dictator of my city. Funding strategy, and if you want to know how to fund this, I've got a whole video on how to make tons and tons of gold to build whatever you want. Finally, sports event experience, accommodation capacity, transport infrastructure, safety and security. So I've got a lot of PlayStations so far, so I've got the security box well ticked. Infrastructure though, I'm going to need to develop maybe some subways, some bus stations for people to get around, and also build some venues. So what kind of venues do we need? So if we look over at the Paris 2024 Games, so we can see from this list here, I'm going to need just various places to do some of the things. Swimming pools, I don't have any swimming pools in my city, so I'm going to build those. I'm going to build an Olympic park with an athletic stadium, so we're going to see that there. I don't have a rugby stadium, so we're going to need that. What else don't I have? I don't have a golf course, so we're going to need to build a golf course. I don't have a place to do mountain biking because I have no mountains in my city, so we're going to have to do that too. A place to do some skateboarding, and I think most else things will be covered. But what we'll do, we'll have some venues that we'll put in there, and they'll just tick off various things as we go. Okay, so the first thing is to start building the Olympic Park. And now we're going to start the build of the Olympic Park. And so we can see that I've chosen this island, which is kind of to the southeast of the city, to build an Olympic Park in. It's got a fair amount of space, so it'll be able to do the job. And just to start with that, we'll be putting down the Olympic Stadium, which is the centerpiece of any Olympic Park. Now, just so you know, in the Olympic Park, I'm aiming to, and on this island, put a few things down that will fit our Olympic criteria. What will not be going on this island is a course for mountain biking. I'm going to do that in a separate place. In fact, I've already done it at the point of recording. I'm just recording the voiceover for what I've created. But that island kind of wasn't really interesting to watch the build on that one, so I'll just see the completed thing at the end of this video. The other thing that you'll see completed at the end of this video but not built is the golf course, because golf is a thing in the Olympics. So there we go. So I didn't know that until I did this video, but if you want to see a completed golf course, that'll be at the end of the video as well. They've got this golf set in there, and to be honest with you, I think it's okay. You sort of do some, maybe somebody somewhere has done a really good golf course in their city. If you have, and you're able to find a way to link me to your city so I can see it, I'd love to see a good completed golf course. I think mine's okay. I'll show you at the end. You can leave in the comments what you think about it. But that and the mountain bike track are two things that I just built separately. I did video them, but they weren't very interesting, so you don't get to see them being built, but just completed. So here we go. We are building now this Olympic Park. So I've kind of fenced off this section to be the Olympic Park. What we'll also be adding in this build is an Olympic Village, so somewhere for the athletes to live. And so now I've laid down the athletic stadium, which is going to be the centerpiece. Now I'm popping in a rugby stadium, which I think is kind of important because rugby's in the Olympics and I didn't have a rugby stadium in the city already. Also, I'm kind of glad rugby's in the Olympics because as a British person, it's a medal hope. Sometimes we get beat out, or often we get beat out by countries like New Zealand, maybe Australia. But Great Britain's got some very good rugby players, and so we've always got a chance of a medal in that particular one. And next you're getting the swimming pools down, so you've got some for diving or for racing. Swimming's a big part of the Olympics. Not something Britain does well in often, but still in our Olympic Park, I think it's a great place to have the swimming pools. Also, I didn't have those in the city, and so we've got that here. And as you can see, some car parks just to fill that out. I'll also be building some infrastructure, or I have built some infrastructure in the city, so some tubes and some bus stations and bus stops and whatnot. But again, did that off camera just because, quite frankly, it's boring again to see endless tube lines being built and bus stations being put down. It's just the same thing over and over again. And I wanted to spare you that. And I thought the Olympic Park's probably the most interesting part of the build and maybe something that you can replicate. I've seen in a number of cities where everybody loves stadiums and put them down. And sometimes they're just this big hodgepodge of stadiums rather than dotted about appropriately. So this is now the Olympic Village. That's where all the athletes stay. So I'm going to build out this structure just with some towers for them to stay in, some entertainment, some food, and also we'll put in, what will we put in is, whatchamacallit, like a marina and things like that, make it pretty so they can have a good time when they're staying in the city. Now I've got the concert hall. So the concert hall is going to be that place where people can come and watch the gymnastics and other indoor events, weightlifting, that kind of thing. So that's a good venue for that. Although I have many of those in my city already. Got the Superdome, and I've got another big concert hall, some kind of fancy one with triangle edges. I can't remember, but we'll do that. Now I'm going to lay down some flags because no Olympic Village is complete or Olympic Park without flags of nations. So you're seeing where I start trying to do this, but I'm going to put a few others in there and change this completely. So I'm going to create what we call an Olympic Avenue along the side. There we go. You can see me moving the flags already. And we're going to keep the British one in the park itself and add the Welsh one to the park because, let's be honest, it's the best flag. I say that completely with bias. You're welcome to disagree. In fact, if you're from another country, I hope you disagree. But I'm patriotic for my country, and so I think the Welsh flag's great, so it's going to get prime place in the Olympic Park. Anyway, I've been wondering what to do with all these flags for a long, long time, and finally I found a reason. It's to have an Olympic drive with all the flags as you kind of drive down the road into the Olympic Park and the Olympic Village and that kind of thing in there. So there they go. And if you're watching this and you're from a country and your flag isn't represented, I do apologise. It's just more a case of either I stopped having space to put them down, or Designer City didn't have it in there. Blame them for the order for which flags appear as you're selecting them and things. But if you're really, really keen to see your Olympic flag in this city, I will add it if you leave it in the comments. There we go. So now we're just continuing to build this out with some detailing of the land. So you're going to see this change from different textures to eventually a bit more green and make it a bit more park-like and palatable and stuff. But talking the Olympics, I'm wondering, is there anything that you guys are looking forward to? Any particular event that you like in the Olympics? I know for me, it's the 100 meters is the big one. That's kind of like the crowning event of the Olympics, isn't it? The fastest person on Earth or man on Earth. That's a big one. I also kind of enjoy Olympic tennis. I always think that's pretty good. And as you can see, I've added some tennis courts at the top there. I really tried creating some kind of tennis stadium, just couldn't do it. So I thought, just lay down a bunch of tennis courts in one section. Boom, job done. Not great for spectators, but at least you can have it on camera. So I've done that, and now all these things are going to be what makes the Olympic Park exciting. So we've got the trees, we've got these kind of different parks and things going on, shoving a bit of fire in there because you got the Olympic flame for the Olympic torch, and so we're going to do that as well. And so we'll have that. So outside of the 100 meters, definitely going to enjoy that one at the Olympics. And then I think I always find kind of other events, side events like table tennis and weightlifting and stuff. They're always quite interesting and fun to watch. Things that I would never watch on a regular basis. But when it comes to the Olympics, you just find yourself watching them because they're there. And maybe even some of the cycling track events, the indoor ones where they sort of go on that ramp thing and go round and round. Now, Britain's usually pretty good at those kind of events. I think somebody joked once because Britain was reigning like cycling and rowing, and say anything where people sit down, the Brits are pretty good at. And maybe that's true. But hopefully we'll do well in the athletics also. But that usually is dominated by the Americans. So you can see some fire going in there. That makes it look quite nice in the Olympic Park. And how are we doing here in many ways for time? So we're about halfway through, probably another 6 minutes left of the video. So just keeping an eye on that. So we're putting the skate park down because skateboarding is part of the Olympic Games. Didn't know that one either. And maybe that's one I'll watch and check out because I've not seen a lot of skateboarding, but my son got a skateboard for his birthday, so he's beginning to learn and practice, and he finds that good fun. So maybe something I can do with him is sit down and watch a bit of skateboarding and things. But what's your favorite Olympic event? If you want to put that in the comments, and maybe I'll make some videos on the Olympics. I've been trying to think what I can do with the time that I have outside of Designer City 2 and things, and maybe making some videos about the Olympic Games might be a good option. So there we go. We're kind of looking, what else can we add to this Olympic Park to make it look fancy and make it just really stand out? That if you used to visit this and you were to walk around, this would be an amazing place to spend some time in and enjoy with friends and with family as you're viewing things. So we're just adding some trees to the walkways and the pathways around the parks and ponds and things. And of course you get the ability to walk along the bay as well. So that's kind of nice. And I do like, though, with Designer City 2, they get the option to just add things in like this. And I was looking at a game called Theotown recently. I don't know if you've seen that one. And I was just thinking about checking it out. Maybe it's something I could learn to play. I will say, though, my initial thoughts when I downloaded Theotown was that maybe the graphics are a bit pixelated. It's definitely not as clean and sharp as this one on the phone. And I've also recently just upgraded to an S24 Ultra as my phone. Good phone, really enjoy it. Camera's pretty good on it, and it's a good fast phone for doing stuff like this, and so really useful. So as you can see now, we're adding the marina in there, and that'll be a place because sailing's also in the Olympics, so we want that there too. Put a little gym down by the Olympic Village, but we're going to see a bit more added to that soon. But going back to Theotown, sorry, I'm skipping all over the place here. This is probably why I wouldn't be very good on radio, or maybe I would, depending on what the radio show was about. But the Theotown graphics didn't seem that great, and it seems to do what I would say is the traditional SimCity thing on there, which isn't bad. I don't mind SimCity. I think it's a good game, especially on something like a PC. But you lay down the residential areas, you lay down commercial areas, industrial areas, and things just kind of pop up and grow according to, I guess, how you influence it with services and whatnot. And I don't mind that, but I much prefer the cleaner graphics on Designer City 2 and the ability simply to plop down whatever I want. Plus, they keep on adding stuff to the city, so that's kind of cool. And I noticed in the latest update they've added the Empire State Building. Now you have to be level 400 to put the Empire State Building in your build, and I'm a little ways off. I think at the time of the recording, even though I'm doing a voiceover for this, I'm at level 390, so maybe another 10. But I've added all the other things into my city, and they look quite cool. I'm being really impressed with the new additions. So as you can see, the Olympic Village is taking shape. These towers by the waterfront, you've got the marinas, got the gym, the parks, put down like a little nightclub and pizza restaurant there and that kind of thing. And yeah, so this hopefully is a good, enjoyable place. If you're an athlete and you were staying in this Olympic Village, you'd enjoy it. You'd have a good time. And I'm just putting these last things down. Put down a school just because they are residential buildings. And of course, for the long term, you want school. Now we've gone over to the golf course. I'm just showing you the golf course. So this is the other side of town. And you'll go back to an overview of the park in a few minutes. It's just where the bill cut off. And yeah, hopefully you like this golf course. Again, it's okay. Maybe not the easiest things to build. So now we're going back to an overview of the Olympic Park. So as you can see, this is the finished version. In fact, the whole island is finished. I put it in a cricket stadium. I'm not sure if cricket's in the Olympics. I can't remember. Now I've got this modern looking stadium there. It looks like a cycle helmet. And I'm thinking that can be the cycle park where you kind of go around there, even though officially it's not. We'll just say that it is for now. And here we go. We've got more added to this island. If you're staying on it, got a little beach area. And as you can see, there's one of the newer buildings in there as well. And there we go. So we've got some arcologies. So I've got this paddock for horse racing, which is actually where the dressage would be in the Olympics. Here's the completed airport. And back to the cycle helmet area. So it really brings this whole Olympic area to life. As you can see, you access it by the tunnel or by the bridge. And I tell you, I'm really pleased with how that turned out. And we're going across now to the other side. So this I'm not as pleased with, but hey, it is what it is. And you can see here, this is elevated. You've got the mountain at the center. And this is where you would do the mountain biking here. So you just kind of follow the track round. And you've got the gazebo at the top. And at the bottom there, got a tunnel to access it via road and boat as well. And then finally just going back to the Olympic Park and or the Olympic Park Island. So I hope you did enjoy this video. Hope you found it useful. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye now.